On today's episode of the community-owned, student-operated podcast, we look back at the GLSCL All-Star Game and the impact that not only the Copperheads, but the entire Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League has on the future of professional baseball. We also will look back at the student-intern experience at the game, and I will tell you about some of the things me and my fellow interns from around the league got to do on that afternoon and evening. All this and much more on the community-owned, student-operated podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the community-owned, student-operated podcast presented by Fahlgren Mortine. My name is Sedric Granger, and I'm your host for this series, as today we have a very exciting episode for you as we get to talk about one of the high points of the entire season in the GLSCL, and that is the All-Star Game, which the All-Star Game is played at Prasco Park. That's in Mason, Ohio, right around where Kings Island Amusement Park is, and not too far away from Cincinnati, actually in the suburbs of that Cincinnati area. And me, the Copperheads players that got selected, and many other interns, not only from the Copperheads, but all the teams throughout the league, and a lot of officials from the GLSCL and the surrounding community all came together on July 12, 2022 to have the opportunity to go and enjoy the All-Star Game. And it's an experience that was really awesome because it was really free. Like, it was something that was free for the entire community, free for all the interns that were going, aside from gas money, of course. And it just made for a lovely day. We got meals provided for us. We got to have an experience that you don't really get to have on a daily basis, getting to interact with major league scouts, get to see some of the best players the league had to offer. And for the baseball players, this gave them an opportunity to get looks from the major leagues, which is the ultimate goal for a lot of these players who are participating in the summer league, is to be able to make it to the major leagues, get an opportunity, get drafted. And the Greater Lakes Summer Collegiate League All-Star Game provided just the opportunity as well. And the Copperheads, they play in the South Division, and they had 5 players that got selected to the All-Star Game. So it was Mason Nadolny, Luke Borer, Kyle Ratliff, Josh Steidel, and Daniel Walter. They all got selected as all-star stars in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League South Division, which is very exciting to have a lot of Copperhead representation in that, as well as representation from a lot of other teams, including teams that the Copperheads have built little rivalries with and players that you kind of remember really doing well in the individual games. So it was really impressive to get to kind of see those players up and personal. So let's jump on into it. Let's start with the whole experience. And just kind of leading up to it, really didn't know what to expect. Just knew this was the All-Star Game, so it'd be a great opportunity to see a new ballpark, experience some of the baseball that's being played in the Northern Division, because we haven't played any games with the North Division at that point. And from a broadcaster, reporter / media person perspective, it was awesome to get an opportunity to really challenge myself as a writer, to get to write for not only the Copperheads website, but getting a chance to write for the league website. That was a big opportunity for me. And Tim Hanna, my broadcast partner, also got the opportunity as well to write some stories and really be a reporter. We also had lots of other interns from other teams who got to talk about some of their opportunities to broadcast the event, for example, or to be social media, for example, as well, too. And that sort of thing, it's just those experiences that you can really leverage into your next internships, which for me, I always share my article that I've written about the GLSCL All-Star Game as an example of what I can do while applying for other internships, which I was able to get that one with the Battle Creek Battlejacks as a result. And I'm sure there are going to be future Copperheads broadcasters that are going to be doing the same thing, where they'll remember this opportunity and be able to leverage it for the next steps in their career. That's why there's been so many people who have worked for the Copperheads who are now finding themselves with roles in the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, WNBA, TV stations, radio stations, everything. Anywhere that people want to be, there are opportunities that you can really build upon when you work on your skills through all-star game experiences such as this one. But let's start with the beauty of the park. Of course, the drive wasn't too bad from Athens, Ohio, about 2 hours and 20 minutes going on out west towards the Cincinnati area, going through Chillicothe, or you can even go up through Columbus. Either way is about the same time. But once you go, you're kind of around this treed area, very nice kind of suburb spot. And then you turn down this street, and then out of nowhere, you see a ballpark. And it was just something where you kind of didn't expect the ballpark just to be there amongst this tree line. But once you get there, it was gorgeous. It's right outside of Prasco, which is a company out there in the Cincinnati area. They do pharmaceuticals, I believe. And it was just wonderful to see that the grass was beautifully mowed. You could tell how well it was taken care of. You had the grandstand right behind home plate with some areas on the left and right of it where there's plenty of seating to have, and a lot of it was shaded. And then there was also a tower on the right field area, which was wonderful to see because you got to go up, you can climb up through that tower. There were seating at the top, and then also the stairs all the way around it were really cool to kind of like sky your way up, get nice views of the Mason area and the trees and the water and everything around it. And it was just phenomenal. There was even like little man-made lakes that were around the spot and in the parking lot, which was all gated off because they were getting ready to set up a ton of fun events for the kids that were going to be there, as well as the adults that were going to be there, so they could make this a very memorable time. They had basketball hoops ready, bouncy castles ready, ice cream shops already there, and then little did we know there later would be tons and tons of food trucks that would all be free for everybody that came to the game, which was just something special. And I really wanted to learn more about the history of Prasco Park and what goes into planning an event like this. And I got to talk with Hannah Edwards, who is the Associate Director of Hospitality and Events at Prasco Park. And I was able to have a quick word with her as she was organizing the food truck order. So this is Hannah Edwards about the park itself. You guys seem to run a lot of events. I saw a sign somewhere over here with a lot of the things that you guys were able to do it. How are you able to make it free for everybody?
So actually, the Arrington family owns Prasco. It's a pharmaceutical company on campus, right across there. And they said that if the Lord was going to bless them, they were going to bless others. And so this is just kind of their way of corporate outreach into the community. So they make all the money in there, and then we get to spend it and bless other people with the resources that we've been given. So,
and y'all are definitely blessing other people. Like, this is one of the best days of my life. I'm here just as a reporter, but I know for a lot of the guys on the team that I've got to speak with, this has been a great opportunity for them. Also, the scouts love being able to see a lot of new prospects and everything. So you guys are doing great things. But what kind of goes into planning an event here?
It's a team effort. So we have a facilities team on staff, a security team, and then obviously the events team, grounds crew. There's a seasonal staff. We hire about 15 to 20 college-age kids for the summer that help out with all of this stuff. So, anything and everything from, you obviously have the game set and then everything that goes into that just typical stadium ops day. And then you have, obviously, with this, like a food truck event, communicating with the trucks, getting everybody booked, figuring out, like what they look like and how they're going to fit logistically into here, and then getting all the cash together, promoting it to the community, getting it on social media. We have a pretty good following around here. People in the community know us at this point, and so we say we're having an event, the lights come on, and people usually show up. So, and then just making sure that it's a good experience for everybody involved. We have people in the stands for you guys, for the game, and that it's just a great experience for players, coaches, staff, scouts, community members, all of it. So.
Yeah, Hannah, it seems like there's a lot of moving parts right there.
Absolutely.
And we see people already showing up about 2 hours, 3 hours early before the game, which is very impressive. It really speaks to what you guys are doing for the community. And then for Prasco Park, when was this place built, do you know? And
2008. June 2008 was the grand opening of Prasco Park. And then Legacy Field, the turf field you guys have been on during the day, that opened a year later in 2009. So June 2008, and then ever since then we've just kind of been growing and expanding and just enjoying it.
It is. It's like a little slice of heaven. It's just a little baseball heaven. You got the beautiful baseball fields. The grass is cut so well.
Yeah.
Is it like the grounds crew, just people like you guys have hired?
Grounds crew, yeah. We actually have 5 full-time people on grounds crew. So it's kind of, the team's really grown. It used to be just one guy mowing the grass back when it first started. So now we have 5 full-time people on staff for grounds crew, and they spend the summers out here and even the off-season doing projects and upgrades to the park. But they do an awesome job of keeping this facility just top notch and as best as we can. So
wonderful, Hannah, wonderful. Do you have anything else that you want to add about it?
I think that's it. We love hosting you guys, and we hope you keep coming back because it's always a great event. One of our favorites for the summer. So hope you guys enjoy tonight.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
Awesome,
Hannah.
absolutely.
Wonderful
Nice
getting
to meet you.
you.
Yeah,
Yes, once again, my name is Sedric Granger. Nice to meet you.
And hope you enjoy. Get some good food.
You can really tell just from that interview how great Prasco Park is, and being able to have a place in the community where people can go for free to enjoy a game and be able to have free food as well as a free ticket. That's just a huge part and a huge staple of the community. So you have to say hats off to the people at Prasco for giving this opportunity to really host this event that's not only for them, but it's also just for the community as well, and for these baseball players in addition to that. So again, just awesome people at Prasco, and cannot rave enough about how awesome the experience was getting to be at that ballpark and enjoy some delicious food, which I personally had a shrimp po' boy. There was also a lot of other great food offerings that were there as well too. So again, cannot thank them enough. And it was great getting to hear a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes there with Hannah Edwards. So on that evening, it was beautiful weather, definitely a little bit hot during the day as it usually is in July, but it ended up being a gorgeous evening and perfect for baseball. We're talking like 70s and maybe low 80s at the beginning, and then high to mid 70s at night. Nice breeze in the air, which you'll be able to hear in some of the interviews, how nice the breeze was in the background, as you can hear a little bit of wind picked up during the outdoor interviews, of course. But again, just a beautiful ballpark. And once Tim, Hannah, and I drove in, it was just absolutely stunning as we checked out the ballpark for the first time, took our videos, took our selfies, and just knew this was going to be a day to remember, one of the best days of my life. And getting to go there, we got to start by helping to set up, and we got to meet the media relations director for the entire league in Brady Labor, who had us do labor, for lack of a better term, with being able to help set things up, which fortunately ended up going nice and smooth. Due to the wind of the day, we did have to find some ways to kind of hold down the tents and make sure that the papers didn't go flying everywhere. And we had a couple of situations where the papers did go flying, but it was all in good fun. Plus, it allowed us to bond with a lot of the other interns from other league teams, which we got to meet a lot of the ones from the South Division, but not a ton from the North Division. And Brady was really making sure that we could have opportunities to connect with other people by really mixing up the team. So he had two groups to split us up, but instead of just saying, okay, all the Copperheads people here, all the Scouts people here, all the Jazz people over here, they did a great job of mixing us up. So then we got to really network with each other, which was phenomenal. And there's nothing like being there with a bunch of people who you know are going towards a similar goal as you, and they've been doing the same work that you have been doing and working hard all throughout the season. And just getting to have that mutual respect for each other is phenomenal. Also, just being able to see the people that you've gotten to meet throughout the season again and really get to work side by side as them. It was awesome. You kind of have that dynamic where the social media people who've been social media for different teams kind of all got to work together, which was awesome, including Skylar, our social media person for the Copperheads. Broadcasters, a lot of the broadcasters got to work together, and I got to see a lot of my friends who are doing broadcasting all together as well. And then even being a writer and reporter, getting to have that opportunity to be able to talk with other people and work with the photographers to make a combined effort on the post. It was just something that is really invaluable to me and to my experience. So after we did the check-in process, first we checked in with the players, and then we got to check in with MLB scouts, which I think that was really dope, especially because this gives us an opportunity to kind of talk with people who have already gone through quite the grind. They've done internships, they've worked for years, and now find themselves in the front offices of some of the most popular teams in the nation, as we got to see tons of different scouts. Of course, people from the Cubs were there, the Cardinals, and many other MLB teams. But one of them that stood out was the scout for the Oakland A's, which was Rich Sparks. And right after the check-in process, there was a scouting combine where each of the scouts got opportunities to check out the players' individual assets before going into the game. So they got to see the pitchers pitch, and then the field players, to get to see them do some fielding drills, some sprinting, as well as some batting as well too. So it was really exciting to get to see all of our Copperheads, as well as some of the top prospects in the country who decided to play in the GLSEL. and getting that opportunity to see them do their thing. And I got to catch up with Rich Sparks, who was the scout for the Oakland A's, and he really talked about how the GLSCL has been a place that they have gone to for talent for many of years, over 2 decades. And I got to talk to him after he finished watching the pitchers with his radar gun in hand. So now you get to hear from Rich Sparks. So, Mr. Sparks, how long have you been working for the Oakland A's?
This is just finishing up my 28th year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then have you gotten to do a lot of prospect showcases up north here in Ohio?
Yeah, we've been doing all these prospect showcase camps for 25 years. We've always done the Great Lakes League All-Star Game. We normally go to the Northwoods League All-Star Game. The East Coast Pro is probably the biggest event for amateurs, but that's for high school players.
Of course. Mm-hmm. And have you guys ever drafted any players here from the GLSCL that you know of?
I know that guys that have played in the yes, we have, and all the other clubs have too. Normally, for the Great Lakes League, it's for guys for next year, and then we just go watch them in the next year's school, and a lot of them have been taken by the draft.
Of course. And again, a lot of these young guys, they've been talking to me when I've been talking to them. They're saying, like, this is awesome. This means so much to us to have so many teams in the building. So we just want to say thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem. Now, you've made it big when you get to talk casually to different Major League Baseball scouts, but this is the opportunity that these interns like myself got to have during that day. We got access to be able to interview these scouts, interview these players, and it was just something that was just wonderful to be able to have added to my resume, and then also just something you just never forget getting to do. And you know that a lot of these times you're not going to get a job based off of just talking to one individual, but sometimes that's all how it starts. So again, just those connections and little opportunities to network here and network there, that's things that were very special. But with Rich's interview, it was great getting to know that the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League is an opportunity that really allows these players to get in front of MLB scouts and have their talent put on display. Many leagues, especially up here up north, they want to have that goal to do that. And the Northwoods League is another league that Rich mentioned during his interview. That is also a really solid league up here. But GLSCL, also one of the top leagues, and bringing in consistent talent from this league and continuing to come back here and look for new prospects, it is huge. And we have so many talented guys, especially last season, so many talented players that went to the Copperheads as well as to all these other teams who deserve an opportunity to show off what they got on a professional level, whether that just be on the minor league level or whether that be all the way up in major leagues. And you can tell when there is a place in which you can find continuous good prospects, teams are going to start coming back, and they're going to keep coming back to see if they can find any other ones. In the GLSCL, they have a great thing going, especially because this All-Star game allows the opportunity for the best players and the players that have shined throughout the season so far to be there. So it makes it easier for scouts to just get to travel to one place that's near an international airport and have that opportunity to see the best guys. So once again, just a big opportunity there. Great to kind of hear what's the perspective from a scout. But now after that, after talking with the scouts, I moved on to talk with some of the individual players in between some of their drills as well as some of their break times throughout the day. And I called Mason Nadolny before he went out to practice batting. And he had this as a goal in the preseason to make the All-Star game. And he got to see that come into fruition. Let's hear from Mason Nadolny. All right, I'm here with Mason Nadolny. And Mason, how does it feel to be an All-Star?
It feels phenomenal. It was a goal of mine coming into this, and I'm glad to see it through. It's fun to be around all this great talent.
Yeah, I can imagine. I saw you talking with some other people from other teams and everything, all connecting. Yep. Also, how does it feel having your parents here as well to help support you?
It's very cool. I mean, it's the first time my dad has been able to see me all summer, so just looking forward to putting on a show for everyone. So it's,
all right, guys, good job.
It's great. It's a great time right now.
It is. And then also, I know you were kind of recovering from like injury and everything like that. How are you feeling today?
Good enough to play. You know, we will manage, but it's feeling pretty good.
Sounds good. Also, what do you think of Prasco Park, man? It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the nicest fields I've ever been on. It's It's a great show. It's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience.
Awesome.
So it's very great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Nice. One last thing for you, Mason. Have you ever done a prospect showcase like this?
No, not really. I've done a couple showcases, but never nothing like this before. So it's a first, and I'm just trying to take it all in all right, looks like all we're ready to go. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mason. Good work with batting. Thank you. Mason really was a true impact player for this Copperhead squad. Not only was his batting average among the best on the team, just in terms of getting on base, he was elite at it throughout this entire season, but he also made very little mistakes when it came to playing third base. He was about as solid as they come out there, and it was great being able to not only see him, but also see his parents at the game, who were very proud of Mason and made the trip all the way down from Minnesota to see him play at this All-Star game. Now we're going to go to Luke Borer, one of the pitchers on the team this year, and Luke saw this as a great test for his skills. Luke, what does it mean to you to be in an All-Star game like this?
Yeah, it means a lot to me. It's been a lot of hard work, and it's been a long road to get here. So I think, just seeing all the hard work accumulate is definitely a positive thing for myself.
Awesome. And have you gotten to do a sort of prospect showcase or anything like that? Are you going to get to do that today?
Back in high school, I did, trying to get recruited. There was a lot of events like this. That was back when I was still a hitter, so it's a little bit different only being a pitcher, kind of just sitting around waiting for the game to start, but definitely looking forward to it.
Gotcha. And how do you get mentally prepared to go against some of the most talented batters within the league?
Yeah, you got to prepare like it's just any other game. You can't tell yourself that these guys are the best, but you want to compete against the best either way. So I guess it's a really good test for me to see how I can compare to all these other great players.
Of course, and then you get the second inning. Do you kind of like that spot, that lot of positioning that you got in there?
Yeah, I like the second inning. I know when I'm going to be able to pitch. I don't have to sit in the pen waiting for how long our starter is going to go. So I know I got the second inning. I know when I got to warm up, so I'll be ready for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
Yep.
Luke spent most of the year as a relief pitcher or even as a closer. He's one of the best closers that the Copperheads had, but due to pitchers having to leave early to go back to their colleges and or being on a pitch count, so to speak, for this season, Luke moved into a starting pitcher role, but having been a guy that pitched usually in only 8th or 9th innings throughout the season, getting the opportunity to know he was pitching in the second inning and just knew that for a fact, it was pretty nice for Luke, and he did great at the game, pitching a shutout inning alongside another pitcher that was from the Copperheads that also did a great job, which is Daniel Walter. Daniel Walter, he did come to the season 1 week later, so kind of joined the team a little bit late, but he was phenomenal. As soon as he got there this season, he had some great games and was always a guy that you really looked forward to in terms of being the starting pitcher when he was due to pitch. So I got to interview him after lunch, and we found a nice little spot where it overlooked the entire field, and he really talked about how exciting it would be to throw in a night game under the lights in the 9th inning. Let's hear from Daniel Walter. I'm here with Daniel, and Daniel, how does it feel, especially after coming into the season 1 week late, to be named an All-Star?
It feels awesome. I'm out here ready to just do my thing today. Glad to be out here with these guys.
Gotcha. So you're pitching in the 9th inning. That's late in the game. How do you feel about having that inning as yours to go?
I'm actually really excited. I love throwing for night games, so I think it's going to be real fun under the lights. I'm sure there'll be a ton of people, so it'll be fun.
Awesome. And have you gotten to do any sort of prospect showcase? Are you going to get to do one today?
No, I haven't. No, I'll have one today. I'll just throw the inning today.
Gotcha. And then how about in high school or any of those?
Yeah, I've been to a few. But nothing this intense, I guess.
Perfect. Have you gotten to meet any of the other guys from other teams or anything like that?
No, I've talked to a few guys here and there, but I haven't really been introduced to anyone or anything.
Gotcha.
I hope to as the day progresses.
I feel like you will for sure. And then also, what do you think of Prasco Park here, man?
This is one of the nicest parks I've ever played at for sure.
Yeah,
it looks awesome. Definitely the best mowing I've seen.
Yes, it is. Man, look at that, man. It looks like it's right on target if you ask me.
Perfect, yeah.
All right, Daniel, thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
Then working my way back to the field, I got to interview with a couple more Copperheads players. First, Kyle Ratliff, where after he did his timed run, I got to catch him just for a little bit, and he talked to me about the joy of playing in a nice stadium like this one. All right, I'm here with Kyle Ratliff. Kyle, you just ran out there. How'd you feel?
I felt all right. First step kind of slipped a little bit, but it wasn't the time I wanted, but it was still a really good time. So, I'm all right with it, but have me work harder.
Of course, of course. What does it mean to be in an all-star game like this, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful, to be in the position. I know there's a lot of people here. Great talent, some people that wish they had the opportunity. So just being here is a blessing. Just be able to come out here and compete and get in front of some eyes. So yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. And then of course, have you gotten to do any sort of prospect showcase like this before?
Yeah, before I worked out with Texas Rangers before and once with the Rockies. So I'm kind of familiar with the situation and the setup, but at the same time, this is a little different, a little new to me. So.
Gotcha.
Sure.
What do you think of Frasco Park in general, Kyle?
It was great, man. It's awesome. I've never been in a park like this, never played nowhere like this. Played in some nice stadiums and stuff, but it's definitely top, it's icing on the cake for sure.
Yeah, it looks like a little slice of heaven. That's when I came in. I'm like, oh my God, this is the park, man.
Yeah.
It just felt like that. But Kyle, thank you so much,
Appreciate
man. Best
you,
of
man.
luck with batting. And lastly, I found Josh Steidel, who really talked about how cool it was just to meet the other guys from around the league that they have been competing with throughout the season. Because in a similar way to how I felt getting to meet some of the other people that were working internships for their respective teams, for Josh, it was really cool for him to get to meet some of the other key players from other teams throughout the league that they've been battling against all season. All right, I'm here with Josh Steidel. Josh, what does it mean to be in a prospect showcase like this to you?
It's pretty cool. It's nice to see that the hard work's been paying off. Just a great atmosphere. The guys are great. It's really fun. So.
Yeah, it seems like a great time. You guys have gotten to get up there, meet a lot of other people from the other teams and everything
it's
like
cool
that.
It's cool to see the guys you play against every day and then get to know them, and they're not that bad. They're pretty cool.
Of course. And then also, is this your first prospect showcase, or have you done a few others?
No, I've done a few others, but this one's pretty cool because the field's beautiful and it's just nice. Everyone's cool.
Gotcha. And is this like the first time you ever been selected for like an all-star game of any sort, or is this nothing new here?
Not really. In high school, I got selected for a few all-star games, but this one definitely seems different. I'm the most prepared for this one. So.
Gotcha. Well, again, just being able, you were running hard. I saw you. Did you win the first race?
I don't think so.
Hey, you guys get to race more than once?
Yeah.
All right,
we'll be
there
good.
you go. You're winning the next one.
Yeah, speed's not really my thing, so.
Hey, it is.
Let's go out there and hit some bombs.
Let's go. I can't wait. What, you guys batting next?
Yes, sir. We got to wait for everyone to run, and then we're hitting the cage, and then we got live on the field.
Wonderful. All right, Josh, thank you. Good luck. Overall, all 5 Copperheads players really enjoyed the All-Star game, and it was something that was very special for each and every one of them, whether they got to have their parents come through to the game, which for the case of Mason, they had to drive a really far distance from Minnesota, or for Josh, his family was able to make it all the way up. They drove 12 hours from Florida all the way up to Ohio to see Josh play. And those are the type of things where, as a broadcaster and as a person working for the team, you just smile ear to ear when you hear those types of stories, and just the love that these players' families have for them and how proud they are of their sons for being able to make it all the way to this point and compete at such a high level. And speaking of the stage, let's talk about the game itself. And at the stadium, the press box was absolutely fantastic, where we got to have a spot as basically a break room where it had air conditioning, they had waters, they had drinks and refreshments there for all the interns and all the people that were working the game. And it was just a great place to enjoy taking a break. And I also got to check out some of the broadcast booths myself and getting to see the TV broadcast people prepare for their game, whether that was some of our interns, whether there was the Settlers interns and Cade Williamson, Andrew Allison, as well as the Hamilton Joes interns as well were there. And even a guy from the North Division who was a little bit older, but was allowed to really give some great guidance to some of the broadcasters that were learning their thing. Yeah, Luke Westpoli from the Hamilton Joes, one of the broadcasters as well for that main event. So just awesome to see what they were getting into. And then from my perspective, getting to be a reporter for the game, we got to hear our names announced on the PA, which was really gave me a nice smile to my face. And getting to enjoy the game out in the crowd, I got to hear from a lot of the fans that were interacting with the game and people enjoying their food and just smiles all around. You could just feel people buzzing all over the place. Kids were enjoying the game. There's beautiful lights, people warming up. And it's just all the joys of baseball in July. Just that beautiful, picturesque thing you dream about. It's really where you can see why baseball is America's pastime on days like that. Again, you just can't help but smile. And I got to share that day with not only some of the Copperheads baseball players, but some of my friends on this Copperhead staff, as there was a lot of people that made the trip as well to have some sort of part in helping out with the events of the day. Of course, Connor Sells, Trevor Stevens, Tim Hanna, Skylar Watts, Zach Harris, all those people were there. Trevor Stevens, I also remember coming through for that day. I believe I saw Chris Marks too, one of our GMs was there, and I believe Charlie Clegg even made an appearance as well too. Just a lot of Copperhead staff members getting to be there. Annie Valent, of course, made an appearance to meet with some of the other leaders of the other teams that are there. And then on a personal standpoint, my girlfriend Emer, she got to come here and enjoy the day with me because she lives close by. And then one of my other friends from back home, Derek, he drove all the way down from Columbus. He loves baseball more than anybody I know. So having him be there with me as well, too, to enjoy a baseball game and help me keep score when it came to tracking the event for my article that I was going to write. Again, it was just special. And then at the end of the game, we got to go down. We got to talk to some of the players, finish up some of our interviews. And the game itself was quite entertaining because instead of 9 innings like you have in a normal baseball game, this game was 10 innings. They're really just taking that extra step to make this as fun as possible. So we got 10 innings of baseball where we get to see 10 different pitchers each get their own inning from both the North Division and the South Division. And then, of course, all of our batters getting to kind of work their way into the game. And we got to see a lot of our Copperheads players shine, specifically Luke Bohr and Daniel Walter, who each pitched shutout innings. Luke Bohr in the 2nd and Daniel Walter in the 9th inning. And then for Kyle Ratliff, he finished with a hit on the day and also made a phenomenal catch at the top of the 10th inning with the game on the line. He made a diving catch, and it was one of the highlight moments of the day. And he robbed a base hit from a player named Jaden Davis. And that really helped the All-Stars of the South to win that game. They won 3-0, and that was something that they were able to celebrate going into the last bit of their All-Star break. So that pretty much takes us to the end of this episode. I hope that you enjoyed getting to hear about the All-Star game and just having a little bit of a change of pace this week. But when we come back next week, we will have an opportunity to be able to talk with some more of our Copperheads interns where they will get to share their experiences and the impact that the Southern Ohio Copperheads had on them. As well as one of our future episodes, we'll talk about what the Copperheads are doing in the offseason and what impact they are making on the community. But as for me, my name is Sedric Granger, wishing you a goodbye from the community-owned, student-operated podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. Thanks for listening.
Little woman I love is named Ramona. She kind of looks like Tempest Storm, and she dance like a little Egypt. She works down the Snake Farm. Snake Farm, it just sounds nasty. Snake Farm, it pretty much is Snake Farm. It's a reptile house, Snake Farm.